So maybe I'll just tell a quick story. So when we raised, so we're an asset management company, and when we launched the business, I knew one of the biggest problems that we would have is trust. Why is anybody going to trust a startup with their money? I mean, it's just like crazy, right? So the way we tried to solve that early was try to build a team of people around us that we thought were icons in tech and finance. And so I started over the period of several months building relationships with people that I really looked up to, that seemed like they had been part of the major transformations in financial services over the last 30 years. People like Tom Stake, who pioneered the ETF industry in Canada, and Eric Kurzner actually built the very first ETF in the world. And Joe Canada built the largest mutual fund company in Canada. These sorts of people, and tried to surround them with the business. And they were kind of excited about the mission and vision of what we were building, and decided to invest in our seed round. And those relationships, these are people that are super well connected. They loved what we were doing, so they decided to introduce me to Paul Desmarais, who's the billionaire grandson of the founder of Power Corporation, kind of one of Canada's most influential companies and families. And we met, and the purpose of the relationship of the first meeting was not, we want to raise $30 million from you. It was, you are too young. He's 35 years old or something like that. It was, you're two young people that want to change financial services, totally want to transform it. Why don't you guys get together and bat around ideas? You guys would probably enjoy meeting. And we had a great first meeting and decided to do it once a month, just as a fun way to keep tabs on each other and check in. So we did it over the course of 6 months. We'd have breakfast, lunch, whatever it was. And very organically, we realized that our visions on the future of financial services were pretty aligned. And he was the one that proposed, we'd actually like to do this with you. And it was a big surprise, because we at the time were a 6-month-old company, and thought maybe we'd want to raise a Series A of maybe $5 million. That seemed typical, but still pretty big for where we were. And he said, no, we want to invest $30 million, and throw all the weight of our companies behind you to help you build this massive transformative company. And what was so amazing about that experience is it was just very organic. It wasn't transactional. I didn't go into it thinking that this is what we want to raise money from these guys. It just very over 6 months, a period of meeting and connecting, it happened. That's kind of
so two messages there, right? Adding value and building trust. I mean, those are kind of the key things in a relationship.
Maybe Corey, you can add in your relationship with Mark and how he's been transforming the business as well.
Yeah. I remember coming back from meeting TD Bank, and as I'm coming back, Mark Cohen, who's the former commissioner of the CFL, obviously comes from a family that's very influential, George, and so he's in our office meeting with one of our early stage investors, and he's like, hey, come on and meet Mark Cohen. So I'm a football fan, so I know who Mark is, mostly NFL though, which he's and he just talked to me a little bit about what we're doing. And this is someone who comes from entertainment. He had some experience in tech with a company called Audience View, which was a ticketing company, but was mostly on the side of Major League Baseball and the NBA. So a figure that people recognize, but certainly not anyone that you might associate with receipts or banking or technology. And he just bought into this because I guess it struck a chord. The problem that we were solving was interesting to him. And so we developed a relationship over a series of a few months. And he not only wanted to be an investor in our company, which he was, he said, I'd really like to help you assemble a strong board, because he thought that would be really critical, and we knew that it would be really critical in terms of us gaining trust of major FIs, not just in Canada, but around the world. And so he became chairman of our board, and he was able to help us attract a great group of board members who right now are really not just introducing us to key players that can transform our business, but are, like Kerry said, your earliest investors, your earliest, board members are almost like members of your team. They're so transformative to your business. And so that relationship has played out to where I meet with Mark, speak to him every week. He's a good friend of mine, and has absolutely been critical in helping us gain credibility with some of the financial institutions that we would otherwise not have access to. So the funny thing is, this is somebody that doesn't have any prior history in banking, but one of his close friends is the chief marketing officer at Royal Bank of Scotland, and one of his other buddies is the president of JP Morgan Chase, and Dave McKay, who's now the CEO of RBC, is a good friend of Mark's. And so When you bring in, influential people into your company, they'll help you achieve great things. So, absolutely, that's been the case with us. The other side of that is the power of relationships. Is what if you don't deliver, and what if you aren't authentic and sort of betray the trust and relationships of your partners, of your investors, of your customers. We have this saying that really kind of drives home the importance of delivery excellence for us, is that with the types of customers that we've got, they can kill you at a cocktail party. So everyone's talking, having a good time, and it's, hey, Gross really screwed us over. They bumped our delivery, and yeah, we just spent $12 million on that, and don't ever go with them again. Don't get sensible. So yeah, the door swings both ways. They can do great things for you, but you have to really nurture them and be authentic and deliver on what you say you're going to do.
I would just add that for the context of this room specifically, the relationships that we build with our investors, our partners, our board members, et cetera, they actually, there's continuity in terms of transferring those relationships over when we work with Osler, especially in the world of fundraising or commercial negotiations. Like for Chat, for example, our seed and Series A were led by the same fund, but more importantly, led by the same person within the fund. So kind of similar, there's always that one person who believes in what you're doing and is willing to get behind you. But the people around that one person or that one fund are all working with not me at that point, but Chad and his team and the associates on this team. And that relationship continues to build because they're going to be part of our Series B. They might even be part of our, if we need to, our Series C, et cetera. And their larger group, always has continuity. So that continuity needs to continue, not just through us as founders, but also through our service providers. And it's not like we're going to be there to make sure everything is working, and the relationship is fine. So there's that trust that, extends into the legal side. And from my perspective, that's one of the biggest reasons why we keep, we went with Osler from the beginning, is that there's no concern there, right? Like whether it's Chad or, the summer associate or the second year associate, I don't have to worry when I go to bed and there's like 4 hours of things that needs to be, done, and most of it is like talking directly with that investor or that person on the investor side. I wake up and I have trust that everything is done. More importantly, the relationship is still strong. So that's critical for us as we leverage the power of Osler or any service provider, not just legal.
So let's switch gears a bit, and we'll talk more about sort of getting down to it and sort of the focus on your business, your grit, your hustle, all those sort of characteristics we hear, very commonly in sports parlance, but it very much applies to sort of any endeavor in terms of how that plays into somebody's success, and what ultimately is the differentiating factor in terms of that, in terms of your business versus somebody else. So maybe go through the panel and just give an anecdotal story about where that's ultimately made the difference in your success or what you've achieved to date. Because I know all you guys think success is something far off in the distance, but at least at the interim step, what you've achieved at this point. Maybe you can start with Michael and Brookdown. Yeah.